Hi again, everyone. We're going to start on question 4, so let's read it. It says, David and Bader own a manufacturing company that makes 2,000 stand-up paddleboards each year. They currently manufacture the rudder for the paddleboard in-house. This is the company's accounting department reports for the following costs of producing the part at this level of activity. So we have a table that's going to be important. The outside supplier has offered to make the rudder and sell them for $30 each. We're going to want to know that. If this offer is accepted, the supervisor's salary and all variable costs can be avoided. So there's some avoidable costs. So we're going to want to know that. The special equipment used to make the part was purchased many years ago and has no salvage value or other use. Okay, so no salvage value, so we're going to need to know that information as well. The allocated general overhead represents fixed costs of the entire company. If the outside supplier's offer were accepted, only 3,000 of these allocated general overhead costs would be avoided. So we have more avoidable costs. In addition, the space used to produce the rudders would be used to make more of one of the company's other products, generating an additional segment margin of $20,000 per year for that product. Okay, so that's kind of new. I don't know if we've really tackled that yet. So we have our highlighted information. Let's get started on the problem. Okay, so I like to make my little template before so I don't waste your time. So basically we've been told some information, right? So we can purchase it from outside. Oh, I didn't give myself enough room here. So I'm just going to put 30 here. We can purchase it from outside for $30, right? I'm going to draw a little line so you guys know that that's a little different. Okay, then let's decide if we were to make it. So that would give us, so the $30, by the way, came from this information right here. Okay, so then also looking at our sheet, we have $8. That's going to be our direct material that's avoidable. Our direct labor that's avoidable is $12. And our variable manufacturing overhead is $5. So I've hit these three right here. And then we have a supervisor's salary of $250. Okay, so we got a few of them, but what about these others? So we weren't using this one and we weren't using this one. Well, in this problem, it told us that those aren't things that could necessarily be avoided because it says only variable costs can be avoided. And we're going to deal with this allocated general overhead cost, which we have on not a per unit basis, so as a whole basis later on. So that's why we're doing this separately. Okay. So the total for these two options, so it would be $27.50 for this first option. That's how much it costs to us. And this other option would be $30, right? Because that's what they told us. So now I'm going to multiply it by 2,000 because I want it on the 2,000 level instead of on the per unit level because some of my facts are in this area instead of in this in the per unit basis. So if I multiply everything across to purchase it, it would be $60,000 to buy as many 2,000. And then direct materials, so that was the buy, now we're on the make. The make would be $16,000 for direct materials, $24,000 for direct labor, $10,000 for variable manufacturing overhead, and just like I said, I'm just multiplying this number by 2,000, that's how I get that. And then 5,000 down here. So that'd be 250 times 2,000 equals 5,000. So if I add all these up, I get 55,000 on this side. And then if I buy it, I get 60,000. Or I would have to pay 60,000. Are we done? And the answer is no. It's a rhetorical question. So we have some avoidable fixed costs that we read about, right? So it told us here that 3,000 of the allocated general overhead costs could be avoided. So that means that we want to reduce 60,000 by 3,000 because those are things that could be avoided. So, okay, this option is starting to look better, right? So the next thing they said is that if we were to eliminate making these in-house, we could make more of a product. We could make more of one of our other products, which would give us more revenue. So I am going to put it over here as a deduction because that's saying that if we purchase them, we'd have a kind of a $20,000 difference that we could use to make it somewhere else. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add all of these together to determine what our total cost to make a buy. 55,000, right? There's no additions or subtractions there. And then here, believe it or not, it actually got down to 37,000. Okay, so now there's an option that looks a lot better, right? This option right here is probably what we want to choose because if we consider in these other factors, it's going to be less to purchase it, and it's going to give us more opportunity. Okay, so then they want us to determine what the change in net operating income is. And so that is just going to be our 55,000 minus our 37,000. And that gives me a change of 18,000. Perfect. Okay, so did we answer everything? So what option would we choose? We would choose this option, right? This is a better option because it costs less to make the rudders, or it costs less to purchase the rudders than it would to make them due to these other additional factors. So it said the second question is, what other considerations should Bader and David take into account? And I'm just going to pull the solution up over here because I don't want to rewrite all this. So other factors, we want to make sure that our vendor is reliable. We want to make sure the quality of the part is good, because if it's not good and we have to remake it, or we're going to have to buy a ton of them in order to get one good product, that's not a great solution. We want to see if there's any additional revenue. That's what we actually took into account with that 20,000. So that should be everything there. So we'll move on to the next problem.